Roll call, please.
Mayor Safarian,
Here.
Mr. Olive, Mr. Grieslar,
Here.
Mr. Orvitz,
Here.
Chairman Winkowski.
He's in transit,
We believe.
we believe. Could I have an approval for the February 15th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. The first item up on the agenda is preliminary plat approval for the Freeway Plaza subdivision. Do we have anybody here for that? Could you please go to the podium?
You need me to sign in?
Please. State your name and sign in, please.
My name is Ron Kale. And I represent the ownership for the Freeway Plaza.
Do we have an overhead for that, Tina?
We do. Give me 1 second here. Want to see another page?
Yeah. If we could show the overhead for the audience here. Okay. Go ahead, sir, please.
Our plan is to divide our property into two and allow the Hollydale road access to go through up to our eastern property line there. And we're going to demolish the southern half of the building, approximately southern half of the building, and then have the new tenant on the front portion, or basically the Navarre, the southern part of the property there, would be a new restaurant pad. And then we retain the remains of the existing building on the northern portion and reconnect the utilities and so forth that we planned on continuing.
For those in the audience that are not familiar, this is the old Freeway restaurant, the southern portion that he's referring to is that section there, correct?
Yes.
And then that dividing line will stop at the laundromat, I take it?
No, the laundromat's going to get relocated into the northern part of the building. The dividing line is actually just after the laundromat.
Okay,
So the laundromat, as it stands right now, would be a part of the building that's being removed.
okay. Can we have him do his presentation, then we'll open the floor. And the section of the existing building that's going to remain in place for now, and do you have plans to demo and revitalize that area also?
No, we plan to renovate that building and relocate the existing coin laundry into that renovated portion of the building. So we plan on keeping that building.
Okay, no expansions, just renovation?
Not at this time.
Okay,
Not at this time. We definitely have the room available to expand, but at this point in time, we have no plans to do that. We just want to keep our tenants that we have that wish to relocate or wish to stay, the ability to stay.
okay. Any questions from the board? No. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Could you come up and sign in, please?
Never been to one of these. Okay. My name is Edward Ross. I live at 2664 Laverne, Oregon, Ohio. I'm just a concerned citizen. We own the property right behind this business where this gentleman's purchased. And he just said that the road that runs behind Arby's and Tim Hortons, from the drawing here, they're going to tear down from that road to the south, which is Freeway Restaurant while we're here. And then they're going to split that building in half, and then they're going to leave the back half. And while they start renovating it, then they're going to start getting people to move in there. Well, the laundromat's already moving in that building. There's been no renovation. Okay. I just left BP at 4 o'clock meeting, and they're already moving in that building. They're not revitalizing enough. The back of the building is all graffitied up. In December, I had called Oregon Police 3 days in a row because whoever owned this property, there was homeless people squatting out there where I have a teenage daughter, and there was gentlemen out there urinating and drinking at 7 o'clock in the morning, We've got kids that get on school buses in that area. I'm a concerned citizen because I live there. It's in my backyard. Okay, I can't do anything about where I bought the home, and there's rodents. The city just got a call 10 days ago, just went out there and made them do a mass cleanup. They're not taking care of the property at all. We've had nothing but problems with rodents in our yard. And I mean, I'm for you. If you guys are gonna do what you're saying you're gonna do, that's great. But for maintenance, whoever owns this property, no one's maintained this property at all. It took Oregon Police Department 3 days to contact the people that own that property to get these people from stop drinking and urinating and using the restroom out there. Like, we got kids in the front of my house loading up on a school bus. I mean, and then whoever owns the property told Oregon Police Department after the third time that we called to get them out there, 3 days. I mean, this is 11, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. They're out there tailgating and there's no football game on. And I've got young children at my home. And then when I'm at work at BP and my wife is calling me saying, hey, my daughter won't go outside and feed the squirrels and the birds because there's grown men out there drinking and hanging out like there's a football game going on. If you guys are going to do what you say, that would be great. I mean, I would love to see it because it is an eyesore seeing an old building and bring a new business to Oregon. That's great. But I just hope that you guys just don't take the front half of the plaza and utilize it and then just leave the back just set because it's an eyesore. And then for the laundromat, there's numerous complaints about that because now you're moving from the middle of the plaza there to the back right up to where all the residents are. And now you've got people that are sitting in there doing their laundry, decide to have a few drinks, listen to a little bit of music. That laundromat opens at 10, 11 o'clock at night. You know, I believe the noise ordinance in Oregon's until 11. Oregon gets tired of hearing us call and say, hey, there's a noise disturbance over there. So now you're moving these people from the middle of the plaza closer to the back of these residents, which that's mine, Bruce's, Art and Fatima's house. It's a little concerning. And I told everybody, it looks like just me and my wife was the only ones that showed up. So I'm just curious that if you guys are going to do what you say, I hope you guys, revitalize it back there because it's an eyesore. And if it's bringing new business to Oregon, that's great. But just don't tear half the building down and leave it the rest of the way. It's not nice.
Well, it sounds like you're doing the right thing, sir. If you see something in your neighborhood that the police need to take a look at, then you're calling them and they are responding and we all appreciate that. And I also have heard about the situation with the people behind the building. I haven't witnessed this. I don't live right next to you, but I have heard about it and that the police were being called about it. And we can ask these gentlemen, if maybe lighting or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, and then the garbage, the dumpster sets right there. I mean, my phone's out in the truck. I've got 50 photos where that
Right.
dumpster comes every Monday morning and lifts it up. Everybody knows majority of our wind comes out of southwest. Unfortunately, that's on the backside of my property. And my yard, every time the dumpster gets picked up, there's a privacy fence that divides our property. It doesn't stop the garbage. And
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
There's some things the property owner cannot control. The wind is
That's
one of
fine. I
them.
don't mind that. It's just, the building is, I mean, I don't know how long they have possession of the building, but if you own it more than 18 months, it's not being maintained whatsoever. I mean, you can walk down between that and the head shed. But seriously, 10 days ago, after I called the city for the third time, and they reached out to whoever and had them come out and mow it and clean all the garbage up. And then we're having this meeting today. But 10 days
Okay.
ago, it looked like underneath the high-level bridge.
Yeah.
And for me, being an Oregon, pay taxes and a homeowner, it's kind of unacceptable.
I agree with you. Thank
So
you.
that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Good
job. If you could address the issues, please.
First of all, thank you for bringing that to our attention. It does matter to us. The coin laundry is not going to be operating right now. They're just relocating their equipment because of the position where they're at is going to be removed. So they're taking their equipment out of the part of the building where they are and storing it in the very northern part of the building. They're not going to be operating in that northern part of the building. And when we do get under renovation, One of the things with the demolition is we have to turn off and terminate all the power and gas and water to the building. So that's why the tenants that we've had in there, we've helped relocate and help them get out. And there's still tenants who are using the back portion of storage. So when we can get our power turned back on, I've just given our contractor instructions. What we're gonna do is, within the ordinance, of course, is increase the light levels that we have there. Make sure the parking lot poles that we have on will be operational. And if I have to put in extra wall packs on the northern part of the wall and the eastern part of the building that we have there, obviously I'll put those on immediately. And as soon as I can get power turned back on there, maybe we can bring up the light levels there to help deter some of those people staying late at night when they shouldn't be there. And I do have problems with the garbage. We do have, there's quite frequently times when the apartment complex next to us, when they evict someone, I end up with all their garbage because they just throw it at my dumpster and don't even try to put it in. So that is something that we are conscious of, and the garbage situation. We do have a company right now who's under contract to be out there every 10 days to police the windblown garbage and to make sure that there is the garbage is in the dumpster whenever possible there. And again, but I can't help it when other people dump on my property. So that's why when we're going to go through and increase the lights, and I know I'm going to be very cautious about how much light we're putting on the back of the building, because I mean, I don't want to be spilling light into your property. So we're going to have to review that and make sure that we're, per code on that. But that is something that we will be doing.
How late is the laundromat gonna be open to? Normal hours?
They're typical hours, but right now they will not be operating in this location until the renovation's been completed.
Okay, so then they do hang out, do laundry, waiting for their laundry to be done. So you've been back to the property? Okay, so then they got like the cement on the back side of the building and then this grass area and then our fence?
Yep.
Our privacy fence? Are you gonna put up like a big fence for people walking back to our fence, hanging out there? Like, can you put up a fence? So I have people just walking up right to my privacy fence, looking in my yard,
Okay, I'll have to see what we can do.
right?
That's something we had not planned on doing at this point in time, but it's something I can talk with
You know,
ownership
you
about.
just keep them from over here,
Yeah.
away from here.
I'll
What
see
happened,
we
Yeah.
can-
what happens sometimes when you have a double row of fences like that, it's very hard to do maintenance in between them, and garbage rolls up in between them, so there's advantages and disadvantages to that kind of idea.
I'm not gonna try to be in my yard, waiting for people to come looking through my fence.
If there's something we can do with landscaping.
That was
Okay.
one of the things with the gentlemen that were hanging out back there for the 3 days. We have a teenage daughter there, and they were up to the fence looking in our yard, and we've got, surveillance on cameras around our home. And that's when I chose to take off and work to come home, and my wife's like, don't go over there, call Oregon police, that's why you pay taxes.
Right, and you did the right thing.
And they did. And then Oregon was really good about it, and they apologized and said, these people know their rights. It's private property. We can't do anything until we can touch base with the people that out of Cleveland or Cincinnati that own it and tell us to move them off. After the third or fourth time out there, they must have contacted you. You told them if you're not shopping there, it's zero tolerance. So after the third time, Oregon did go out and remove the guys. Well, we're just worried about
I'm just worried about the people now that are gonna come to your new place, thinking they can just hang out, whatever, just walk around.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, hopefully when we increase the light levels, there'll be a deterrent for that. And we
Right.
can also put up cameras as well, so we can videotape that as in
I
addition.
just want you to keep those
Yeah.
people up, away from close to my house.
And we were notified, we're based in Detroit. That's Troy, Michigan is where we're based out of. And I'm down here 2-3 times a week into the Toledo area, because this is not our only property here. Actually, I was notified by letter from the city about the garbage.
That was us.
Yeah, it's fine. No, I totally understand, and it is something, I had gone through and done my, what we call wellness check on all of our buildings. I try to do that once a month on the wellness, but I visit our buildings weekly.
So here's another big issue, and I have thought, somebody talked to zoning, I can't remember, I'm not good with names. So when we get massive amount of rain, that parking lot back there, the sewer doesn't work. And then my backyard, I've got 6 inches of standing water for 3 or 4 days until the water recedes. So that property on the north end of that, the sewer doesn't work and it just washes right up into my backyard. And I've got 5, 6 inches of flooding rainwater. And it's, there's a privacy fence up. The only thing I can do is maybe put some sandbags up or something, unless you guys can get the sewer fixed back there. But when it rains, it's bad back there. I called the city about it.
Rodney, have we had any complaints in that area for the city's line?
I don't believe our office is correct.
I talked to 2 people in
We
zoning.
definitely check it out.
I called 2 people in zoning. I talked to a young lady, and then she talked and dispatched me to a gentleman, and I talked to a gentleman about it. And he explained to me, I work on catch basins, you know, with a large amount of rain, you guys restrict a little bit so people don't get, residents don't get flooding. So, which I didn't know that, but it just, when it rains, it just floods my whole backyard.
They said it'll soak in the ground, like it'll run off, soak in the ground.
And then the fence back there, I actually had to go back through there and dig the fence up, the fence post, and fix some of the fence posts because the amount of water that saturated the ground so bad that the fence had dilapidated, fell in. So if you go on the back side of that property and look, right now, we just had all this rain. I had took some stakes and staked it back that way because I'm gonna fix 2 more of the poles back there because of the amount of water is just saturating the ground back there.
Just information for you, sewer lines, private and municipal, are designed for standard rainfalls within a parameter. If we get something that is heavy out of that parameter, the lines just can't handle it, and that's where you see street flooding. So Rodney knows of it, and maybe he can take a look at that area and just make sure everything is cleaned up and on our end. And obviously, they don't want any water in their building either, so I'm sure it's something that can be looked at from their end. But I thank you for bringing up all these issues. Anything from the board?
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that has any questions about this property? Please. If you could state your name and sign in, please.
My name is Nicole Van Gelder. I was wondering if anything would be maybe tied into what Oregon has with like the walking and bike trails, maybe? If we could figure out some sort of, if whether it means trees or planning of anything to beautify that area that he's kind of around there. It's very much concrete, and I think that might even kind of pay into play of the drainage too. So any landscaping,
Well, thank God we have the mayor here to answer
yeah,
that.
anything like that. So
Ma'am, and I can address some of that.
sure.
We do not have any arrangement for a bike trail to go in that area. We have some that comes to our town center across the street, and that will be incorporated. Is that is in the next plat, is it not? Or in this next phase?
Yeah, with the project, there's some paths that go in with the project we're constructing right now. And then we also have another project that hopefully we'll be doing this fall that'll connect from where it leaves off by Aldi's and Dairy Depot that will come down and tie in. I will
Not on
say-
this side of the street.
Not on this
though.
side of the street.
It'll be on the other side of the street. But
However,
as for
However, there are, with the extension of Hollydale, there is a sidewalk along the north side of Hollydale that will get extended. So that will provide pedestrian access to this area. Also, with the redevelopment of the parcel up front, I mean, we have plans in that we've reviewed. Currently, basically 100% of the property is basically asphalt or building. The new site will have more green space than the old site. There will be landscaping because that's a required part of our code. And there will be, the storm sewer will get upgraded and at least from the new roadway Hollydale up to Navarre, that'll be all brand new storm sewer system. Yeah, everything from where Hollydale will get extended up to Navarre, that's all brand new.
Hollydale South.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
Hollydale
Hollydale
Sou-
going south.
Yeah, that's more of a question for,
Well,
Yeah.
and what I can address there with it, at least what we'll have is an improved storm sewer system that they'll have access to for the back. So if they choose to, we could try to encourage the enhancement of the existing one back in the north end by your house. So they'd have a path to a new system that should have ample drainage. And that shouldn't be restricted in a manner and the normal the rainfall that you have seen lately. So it should take all that water. It would have the ability to take all that water unless it was an overwhelming rain event. And then, but even then, it would take that water within the latter part of the day. So this system should be everything that is being done here in this improvement would have the ability to help all the concerns you've had so far. And I'll address one other thing when you said about the police. We can see to it that the police do a little more passes through that area and try to help in that manner.
Did you have another comment, ma'am? This meeting is basically for approval of the preliminary plat where the contractor and the owner expressed their desire to move forward with the project. And then this board is hearing that. And we do appreciate the comments from you, the residents, on various items. And we have a couple different city departments here that have heard those, and we can keep an eye on things like that. But do you have any other questions about the proposed project? Yeah, there will be a little bit more landscaping than you've seen in the past. We don't have that on our plans because that's a preliminary. Yes, ma'am.
So what exactly is going to be? Besides the laundromat?
Right now, the only tenant I have signed is the laundromat. And that'll be approximately 3,000 square feet in the front portion of the remainder of the building.
So.
I'm sure you'll hear rumors,
I know,
but until the sign goes up,
Everybody's seeing stuff, you know. so
Yeah.
those are now-
Panera's gonna be the pad, the restaurant pad in the front.
Okay,
So
that's
it's
what
gonna
it
be up at the bar. That's what
Yeah.
Panera's gonna be.
right, doesn't say front.
The building remaining will be the laundromat,
Yeah.
and the very end tenant to the south.
I just don't know.
The other tenants will.
Yeah.
And to address one of the other comments and concerns that brought up is, to my knowledge, we don't have any asphalt paving north of the edge of the building. But we do have some broken concrete, and once we are done with the demolition in there, we'll have the machinery to remove that concrete and we'll be able to level out that dirt pile and get that area ready for seed. So we'll grass, make sure that what's north of the asphalt, basically the end of the building there to the right, or excuse me, to the left, will become green space. Now, the closest catch basin we have is sort of in the middle of the building there. That's really just in the asphalt itself, so we'll have to take a look at drainage and make sure we're not moving any water into your property. So we'll have to take a look at that. I don't recall how flat that land, I mean, I know it's pretty flat, but I just don't know if it's like they pitch back towards you or one way or the other. I'm not sure.
if we could, please, these discussions that we're doing right now, could they please be taken care of after the meeting so we can move forward with the items?
Rick?
Yes.
The only comment I just have is, I mean, your guys' concerns are valid. I don't think Panera wants to be neighbors to it either, right? So I just think the way this is gonna play out is to your benefit. The best thing that could happen is that parcel up near, so they're valid, but I think they're just gonna be addressed almost without you even having to ask, because if they want Panera to be there and stay there, they're gonna have to fix that, so.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, do you have any comments?
No, other than if you have any problem with the storm sewer drain that you have there, our city streets department does do water jetting and stuff and help, will assist in that manner. But if you could get them to improve and put another catch basin in the back area and add to it, it's not a terribly big project. It seemed like it would help that out.
I do know that we are going to be addressing underground storm sewer system.
All right,
Both properties.
yeah,
During this renovation.
okay.
Thank you for your attention to these matters, sir. Do we need an emotion to approve the preliminary plat?
To accept it.
To
So
accept it.
I would move that we accept the preliminary plat for the Freeway Plaza.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Who seconded?
Greg?
Mayor Safarian?
Yes.
Mr. Vrieslar?
Yes.
Mr. Orbitz?
Yes. Thank you all for you attending. The next item on the agenda is SUE-175-22, special use in a R2 medium density residential district for the purpose of having up to six chickens, hens only, on the property described as parcel 44-23687. Applicant owner is Christopher Anu. Location is 3026 Pickle Road.
Tina, could you put that property up?
On it.
Thank you.
My beautiful notes, I'm sorry, I'm not.
want
There you
this
go.
up?
That's
Not
it.
very great at being an artist. Nicole Van Gelder, I propose to have 3 to 6 chickens, probably really only 3. I want Easter egg layers. They lay the blue and the white and the off different genetic colors just to raise for my family use only. I propose different areas of sites that I can have my chickens. We have a 5-acre plot. We have a lot of buildings. I've spoken with my one neighbors. If you see like the end of our driveway in the red, Dave and Helen, they're over here. They didn't mind us having chickens so long as we did not put it on the, I'm looking at it, that would be the southeast side of the barn. I'm proposing to, that's a really hard picture. There's an old outhouse. It used to be a dairy farm, and we have many buildings. We have, the farm has cinder block up to about 6 feet, and the garage is all stone. There's an outhouse that is 4 by 6 that is all cinder block and ventilated, and that's where I'd propose to put my metal completely enclosed. Over top of that's their hen house, and then I would have the resting, which would be on my side of my garage only. I have a double lot. My next neighbors would be up in the top left corner. They are in Florida right now. And then I have the YMCA is directly behind us at the very back of the property. So to have and store the food, it would be in metal containers inside of my garage locked up. And then I would have the chickens locked up inside the pen only, not free roaming around my property at all, ever. And I do want to have, the gentleman right here just suggested double caging because a hawk just killed one of his brother-in-laws, reached through and killed it. So I don't want anything like that. I have a lot of forest area and I'd like to clean that. The recommended amount of time to clean their hen house is in spring and fall. I don't really think that I'm okay with that. I want to clean it quite often. I don't want to have any rodents or bring any unwanted anything to the property or have smells. And that's just.
Are you the waste from the hen house there? What is your plan for the waste?
I
Because
went
that's
out-
usually a
yeah.
common question we get.
Sure. I went out to my uncle who has a farm out on Salisbury Road in Monclova. He houses chickens. He also grows things like vegetables, which I had asked the county zoning office if I was able to grow anything on my land. I needed to ask for a permit. They said, no, you can grow whatever. So I would like to do the compost, and it stays hot for 3 months, and you have to turn that over. So there's a proper way to compost. And you need to put that down first, and then you need to overturn the soil over top of it. You need to also put in something that's organic, whether it's sawdust or something to be absorbent, and then let it rest for 3 months, and then you overturn it again. And my uncle uses those as That's where he plants his squash and his watermelon and what have you, because it's raised. And our property is gets flooded. So there's some wet areas of our land. So I think that it would really help to give back a little bit to the clay soil as well and to just keep renewing. I would like to eventually talk to the YMCA and get a youth program going in the back corner of my property, just the very back right there. You can walk directly to their back parking lot. And I'd like to offer that for them to maybe do like a community garden in the future. I think that the chickens could probably help with maybe some of the educational composting and how to properly do that in a child's program. And I have no amount of where all of the eggs that are produced can go. I have 54 cousins. I have 4 grown children who have fiancés, a sister-in-law who has a baking business. So I'm not worried about anything like that.
Okay.
I'd like to do a little bit more organic living, and that's why we moved here a year ago, is because we want to be able to kind of live off of our own and kind of do a little bit more of that within a hobby type of not on a big scale.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
I picked Brahmas and Easter egg layers, so they're very friendly chickens, from what I'm understanding and being told.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here that has any questions pertaining to this property?
My name is Lindsay Veers. I live at 3036 Pickle. So we'd be on the left side of her, and then her property runs behind us. Is this in writing about where she's going to have them, or is it just a flat out yes or no, you can have them, and we're not like delegating where they are? I know she said where she was going to put them, but are we just doing that on good faith and goodwill? Because I don't want them behind my house.
I have no problem putting them wherever on my property.
Okay, because it seems like things are already kind of piling up back
Well, let
there
us
that they
answer her
don't wanna
question.
Look
Right.
at, and we have to look at them. Like there's a car and some kind of structure made of sticks. I have a clip. So I mean, Oregon said they couldn't move the car because it's on cement, but I mean it's been there probably about 8 months now. And is there any plan to move that?
It's licensed and then it's insured, and that's where it's stored. I have 2 daughters.
Right.
And that's our
Yeah, there's like
expedition.
a barn.
The only
four
code,
garages,
the only restriction, the
two
only
parking
code that I know, ma'am, is as far as for having a vehicle in storage on your property is that it be licensed.
Yeah, no,
And
they
this
said
one,
it could stay there. I'm just showing you what I'm
Right.
looking at. I definitely don't want a chicken
Right.
coop
and
chickens
even
back
even
there.
in my subdivision, there are a couple neighbors that have kids in college away from here, so their car sits for 9 months of the year.
It's just very unsightly for us. I mean, they have a lot of parking, a lot of buildings.
Right. And I
just
understand what you're
don't wanna
saying.
Be in here and, oh, they're gonna go over there and then they end up behind me because there's some kind of fence structure that was being put there. I was assuming that that was gonna be for chickens. I mean, I don't know what else it's for, but.
And to answer your question, as far as in this board, if this gets approved, then it is for the property itself. And we do not govern the specific site, where the square footage shed would go. But it sounds as if your neighbor is, right, it sounds as if she's, willing to work with you as far as the location.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of room over there, so.
Yeah, there's 5
as
acres.
long as they're away from everybody.
I don't want them to go too far out because then I'm not able to water them
Correct.
and help their food. So I just want it to be on the left side of my garage where the cars are, where there is an outhouse.
Okay.
It would be
Mis-
towards where the original chicken coop was, which was a double house chicken coop on a concrete slab. That's a patio now. That's where I would like it.
Okay. Mr. Mayor?
And Mr. Chairman and Lindsay, what I was addressing you is if we just approve this, then they would be able to locate it anywhere on the property and you would be going as a kind of a good faith deal. But if we do have the ability to put a condition of where they would be able to be located on, and it would have to adhere to that. So yes, we could actually incorporate that
I would
into
prefer
that.
it into
All right.
writing, yeah.
So that is something
Otherwise, it'd
that's
be like a
quite
hard
easy to
yes.
do.
It would be a hard no for me without it.
Okay. So
How would we do the description, being that we don't have any footage?
I couldn't make out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what we'd have to do, is put a verbal description of the location where they would be located. Our,
Right, I kind of understand the drawing to some degree, but like I said, we have 5 acres that are being represented here. And I understand your comment too. You don't want it so far away that you won't be able to access it conveniently with water and tools and things like that.
so maybe you were proposing to put them in a certain location, correct?
Which building is?
I also would like to be able to have a kind that are on wheels that you move around in really good time, because that would go, I can put them in the back, you know, to go towards the YMCA, and they can help. There's those with the wheels. Their droppings go around the 5 acres in the cypress.
And there obviously is one factor that has to be taken into consideration, and that is that your property, like a lot of others in our town, mine included, when it rains heavy, it does flood and it gets inaccessible to the back portion, even in my subdivision, it's flooded back there and I can't get to my shed. So that is something that, we all would have to take into consideration as far as what would be the best place for, something that needs to be maintained on a regular basis.
Yeah, because even in the picture you can't see, but there's another house that's very far set back, it's a blue house, and this whole section right here, there's a house. So that would be along his living room and everything right here. So I'm sure that, she said she's not gonna put it there, but now she says on wheels, just to move it, so I just don't want it back anywhere in this area at all. And we both have dogs. I have one, another neighbor has 2. That's just gonna drive them absolutely insane. They're back there.
You would like to look up the pinpoint of, that back square neighboring their back property, and the neighbors right there, it's not allowed to do that.
Would it be possible to say it would be located behind a building, like maybe put 50 feet from property lines?
Well, we can possibly put anything in there.
Well, I know,
It's just-
but with that
it's being
said,
practical. We want to be
Yeah.
practical
I'm-
and
Well, first of all, we
logical.
don't have any lineal footage on anything, so if we get a parameter, we have to make sure that's doable. And also, as she had
well,
stated,
that,
and I know this property
yeah,
floods.
and I'm not saying 50 feet's the
Yeah,
right number,
I
but I'm
understand, I'm just
thinking
saying whatever
that
parameter.
if we just
needs
put
to
a
be
number
workable.
on it away from the property lines
Yeah.
and located behind the house.
And you bring up some points that are very valid. But also, a property owner has certain rights to their property, and you have dogs, and they don't want to hear them barking either. So, there's a fine balance that sometimes the neighbors just have to be considerate of each other on various issues, including barking dogs. We have one next to us that's a little dog, and when we let ours out, it just barks constantly, but there's nothing that we can do about it. Okay.
No, my dog was barking too, that's why I still want to give him another
Reason to bark.
back there.
Yeah. Give us a minute to think about this. Greg, you're looking at something. I think.
I'm just trying to get a little perspective, this to that aerial there.
And ma'am, it sounds like you're
Describe.
being very considerate of their issues, their concerns.
Yeah, it would probably be like from the small shed to the barn.
Tina, do we have a better aerial shot of this?
So can
Give us a second.
I looked. A better
help
map
me
you need.
understand where this is on that
Smaller.
So it's like this. So this is the small building at the wayfront, and then the barn is back here. So if we just canceled out like from this shed to that barn, and she could have everything around the rest of the property, like that way or back, like whatever. But from the barn to these sheds, like this whole area might be off limits, especially because the other neighbors.
You're the house that you're that little northeast, the northeast.
We're gonna try to
side,
get a
right?
better viewing of it.
How can I get out of here?
we're trying to work out a balance and it may come to the point where if we cannot find a balance here, then you and the neighbors would just have to, you know, do the best you can. I'm very cautious as far as putting
So
parameters,
this is
being that we
looking out
don't
your
have
back
any.
window and this is her property kind of tucking behind you.
I don't know which we're gonna get better.
Would you, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Mayor. Okay, there we go. There, yes, I agree.
so what,
These pictures make it look a lot bigger, that's why I took this, because it's not as far of a space as it looks like on here.
That's what this is right here. Like, where on the property are you looking at putting it? When we're looking at it here.
Ma'am, if you could come up to this so we can hear you a little bit better.
Okay, there is the number 60. There's the 3 buildings directly to the left along that whole driveway. So any of those buildings, I can exclude chickens from being back to the barn and then over directly to the right to the property line. So from the barn, from the front of the barn to the property line to the right and then along the driveway. All that can be no chickens. That's fine with me.
Rodney, do you know how to put that in words?
I don't know how to put that.
He's
in
an
words.
engineer, of course he does.
Oh.
He'll have a drawing by the end of the
Really?
meeting.
Yeah.
So this area here, you're saying you'd be okay with?
If you put it in front of the barn.
Front of the barn, not behind.
Yeah.
We can use that.
Yeah, as I
We
say,
can use that
screen,
pictorial.
Well,
thing.
let's
You can-
screenshot
you
it,
Put it
print
in
it,
there
and-
and.
Yeah.
Put that in there.
And this is your,
We don't have
this-
to put it in words nowadays.
we're being very respectful of your property and your wishes also, as including the neighbors. So we have the tools now to do that.
Mr. Chairman, now what I was gonna address is when you said certain people, you all have rights, but what really happens here is you have rights as how your zoning exists now. You're asking for additional rights.
Yes.
So you have the burden, they don't. So when we're being a little bit, maybe annoying, but we're
Oh,
just
I'm
trying
fine
to,
with it.
we're trying to find a way to, grant you your request.
And that's
and
why
not say
even
no.
In my submission, I said wherever would be best to live
Yeah.
here. And I want to hear other people's opinions. It's not.
Is the area that is highlighted in blue, is
Yes.
that acceptable to be excluded from where you're going to put the chicken coop?
Yes.
Is that acceptable to you? Okay, so both
Could we
parties,
just say south of the barn?
both
We
parties
can,
agree.
right, we
And
can,
then-
we
or
can
just
print that
print
picture
that
and
out.
use that. Because then if you're in violation, you
Okay,
say, well, that's,
So that's workable. Okay, there we go. That's perfect.
the picture's
Just
worth
put
a
in,
thou- a
put
thousand.
in area designated
What's that?
on the application, like for the condition we just put.
Excluded, it excludes this area
The shaded area
Okay,
is excluded.
within.
that's excluded.
Correct.
Okay.
That's a no chicken zone.
No
Okay.
chicken zone, that's right.
I don't know. I think he was gonna hook one up, but I don't think he ever did.
And it seems like that is a fair amount. There's quite a bit of distance between
Excluded.
the back of your
Okay.
property and there.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
the condition.
You did good.
I told you, when he let
Yeah.
the engineer drive, we were gonna
Yeah.
have, I knew there'd be.
Glad you're here,
drawings.
Rodney. Okay, being that both parties have agreed to the amended proposal, is there anybody else in the audience that would like to make a comment on this property? Anything from the board at this time before we close public hearing?
Just say instead of amended, that would be granted with the
Well, we can do
exception
that on
of
the
that.
proposal, yeah. Make a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. You don't have to take the roll. You can
Yeah.
just do it as a chair.
Okay. Seems like, well, all the questions from the board have been answered, so a motion is needed?
Close. We'll take that question, I guess.
I just wanted to address one of the things that was stated. There's and that is having, right now, it has area growing over it and green beans and lettuce and sort of things of interior. And it will be completed to help with rabbits, so it's.
That has nothing to do with this, but it,
No, it's just.
but it was nice to
Okay.
know.
Area like the car was.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, motion is in order.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept special use SUE 17522 with the condition that chickens are not permitted in the blue boxed area.
In the area highlighted on the overhead,
Correct.
It'll be attached to the application.
and it will be attached for the record.
Second.
Okay, so that's Mayor and Mr. Friesler. Okay. Mayor Safarian?
Yes.
Mr. Friesler?
Yes.
Mr. Orbitz?
Yes,
We're all good.
thank you very much for all your time. That concludes this evening's meeting.
I just want to say that this is a recommendation from Plan Commission. This will go to City Council between,
I can tell you the date here.
okay,
25th,
the
or I
25th.
think it's the 25th, 23rd, 25th, whatever that
Oh.
Monday is, the last Monday in May. Or
see.
the one before the holiday.
For final approval.
Well, it wouldn't be the 20, it would be the 20, it'd be the 30th.
Okay, that's the fifth Monday. It's got to be the 23rd.
I don't
Huh?
think we have anything to sign.
The 30th is the fifth Monday, so it's.
So it would be the 23rd.
23rd.
23rd. And that meets our 30 days.
That'll meet our 30 days because I'll send everything out. this
Yes,
week.
sir.
So,
Okay,
Okay.
just to let you know, this will go in front of council approximately 30 days from now, so Does she-
20, it exactly 23rd of May.
23rd of May.
7:00 PM.
And at that meeting, it would take 4 votes of council to pass it or 4 votes of council to fail it and 6 votes to amend it.
We have there's a lot of properties in Oregon that have this same scenario with you, with a few chickens that are in residential areas. So you're not the first. So it's come up before council many, many times. Anything else?
Move we adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a good evening. Do we need to sign anything? Tina?
Yes,
Do we
you
need to
do.
sign?
Yep.
Mr. Breezer needs to get out of here.
Yeah, we don't have to sign anything?
I think
Yeah,
she's
we-
bringing it right now. What happened to your hip, knee?
I should still email you stuff, but these are a little bit better drawings.
It's a shorter, let's just say what works,
Yeah.
right? This is what doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Nerve damage, knees, hips, whatever you want to.
Everything was on the amended.
Okay, and then council will get all
Yeah,
of.
thanks for, I knew the
Yeah,
second you
thanks.
sat
Thanks,
down,
glad
we
you
were,
were here.
I knew it was gonna get through.
Yes, you'll get
It's
it.
good to
I'm
be
gonna mail
seen.
it probably this Thursday or Friday.
Oh, wait.
Pen goes that way.
Um, I think you should probably wait. Mike, is it better for her to wait on any structures until council approves, or is it okay for her to go ahead?
Is it better to show that I have the area portion? I mean, I guess I don't know.
No. They're gonna pass that. I would have about real close to 100% record of calling how this would go. And I think it's real high percentage chance it'll just happen. Just be there and you don't even have to offer. I will be at that meeting too and can help. But what will happen is I wouldn't come up here and do a lot of talking. What I would do is say, I am here to answer any questions if you have. That's what I'd start with. I wouldn't make a case. Yes, I am the applicant. I'm here to answer questions. Been through the planning commission.
You have a
Thought-
lot more property than a lot of